All right, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Introverts Show. I'm your host, Senor Filth, joined today with the usuals: Benevolent Asshole, Axiom, and TmHands. TM, we weren't here in the last episode. If you want to just quickly introduce yourself.
All right. I am TmHands, the creator, author of the comic book Angel Protected, and I'm also a graphic artist and a graphic illustrator.
Cool. Today we're gonna kind of change it up. We have a new artist here, man by the name of Luke Rawlings. I've been following him for maybe a few months now. Noticing your art has been kind of picking up steam on Instagram, and I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. This will be kind of an interview episode, I guess.
Luke Rawlings started reunited-states.com, building a movement using my artwork to reach people, hopefully to open some eyes and reunite the country by getting the right people together and promoting that we stand against all the stuff that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess let's just get into it. I mean, was there a moment that drove you to at least start at least posting some of your art?
Well, it's funny. I was trying to start a business back in 2019 and was going all over the place. And then COVID happened and that kind of put a halt on everything. And then after that, my wife got cancer. And so we were just trying to figure out, because I'm on disability and she's a social worker, so we don't have a ton of money. So I was trying to come up with ways to make some extra cash, and she wanted to do some screen printing for shirts. So I started doing mashups and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to try a couple of political ones. And I did one of Joe Biden as being controlled by a puppeteer hand. And then one self-portrait with a censored mask and the flag burning. And then I did one of Giana Carano standing in front of a flag. And she liked it. That was it. She just liked it. But that was enough for me to be like, she took notice of that. I gotta keep going with this. So I immediately started just hitting it as much as possible. I usually sit and draw for about 8 hours a day, but it's hard. So I've only wanted to post good stuff on there. But then she saw some more of my stuff and started following me and reposted it. And since then, I've been in contact with her, Kevin Ross, her boyfriend, but he's also a Muay Thai fighter. He's got a title fight coming up next month. And Will Champlin. Will Champlin, his dad was in Chicago. He was on The Voice. He's a lead singer of Valley of Wolves. But anyway, I'm working with him on a protest tour where we're just going to go to random places and start up a protest where he's going to start, performing live music that he's writing for this specific thing. Just did an album cover for him. And we're going to have my artwork set up. And the first one we're going to do, we're working on getting that nailed down on the date. But we're probably going to be going around Nashville just until they tell us to leave. And then we'll just go to another spot until they tell us to leave. And then hopefully that'll get a bunch of people following us around the city. And that'll get media attention. And then hopefully, Candace Owens and some of the other people I want to get involved with this will jump on board.
Mm-hmm. The Giana Carano thing, did you make that in response to like the whole firing of her, or was this before?
Yeah, because I'm a huge nerd. I was also, at the time, I was making 3D printed props and stuff like that and selling them on Etsy.
Cool.
And so, yeah, I was thoroughly pissed whenever they fired her for that. I mean, you don't take Star Wars from me, man. You don't mess with Star Wars. But yeah, it was really what it was is I saw an opportunity whenever she started following me to actually do something I started thinking how I could, take advantage of this as much as possible and help as much people as possible. And because there's too much going on right now, if I have an opportunity to do something, I have to take it.
Yeah,
it does, make things a little more dangerous for the family, but
Yeah, I think I was kind of on the same boat as you. Like, I've been kind of annoyed at what's going on for, probably this whole year and a half or whatever. And the Gina Carano thing was probably the thing that kind of like made me decide, like, why not just fucking do a show and just talk about
That's what I
this.
told her. I said what happened to her was a breaking point for a lot of people. I
Mhm,
think that she is a catalyst that's going to start the real change.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
she ends up being like a Paul Revere type of character in a weird way.
yeah, for the cause, like whenever I get local businesses on board with this stuff, I want to use the Rebel Alliance logo as
Mhm.
like a badge for people, because like they've taken so much from us with cancel culture and everything, and I feel like we should take something back. And what
Yeah.
better to take back than Star Wars? I mean, come on.
Speaking of cancel culture, did you experience any drops in your posts when you switch from regular drawings to political stuff?
Well, I didn't really post much before. I think I had like I'm horrible with technology. I'm like a 80-year-old man. My dad can do better than me with this stuff. But I had really just to post. I cleared off the other things that I had on there. Was like pictures of Hawaii or something. I had 27 followers, but I did notice a drop in friends on Facebook. Like whenever I would post something before, I would immediately, within a day, I'd have at least 50 friends like it, and comment on it. I've lost like 100 friends off of my friends list, and I'm getting like 8 likes on stuff from people I know.
Mhm.
It's so yeah, there has been a drop off, but Instagram is only really just skyrocketed because it was
That's
March
good.
17th whenever when I posted the picture of Gina. And so everything has happened in the last 2 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you on? Do you post on any other sites like?
Well,
Parler or
I was on Twitter. My wife and I had our accounts deactivated. So,
anything?
and we got to be careful too. I don't hope this is going to be all right. My wife works for the state, so we got to be careful
Yeah.
with like anything tied to her
Mhm.
on it, because they kind of monitor her social media and
Mm.
stuff. And they've said, while they believe in freedom of speech, they don't believe that extends to social media. And so basically anything that you post that's not left wing, extreme left stuff, then you could lose your job basically.
Yeah.
Is anything not extreme left wing? Like, what is that even considered nowadays?
Ooh.
Yeah.
It can nothing moderate,
uh,
nothing hinting that there's possibility of another point of view.
so if I thumbs down a Che Guevara poster, that's like right wing now or something.
Yeah.
Jesus.
They label anything that's not
also not okay.
I guess for Luke, I guess I'll just answer you a straight up question. Like, what would you personally define as like the culture war? I guess because this is an ongoing thing that's going to take the show.
What would I say to define it?
Like what if I were to like to ask you what is the culture war? Like, how would you describe it? I guess.
I think it's an attack on the Western way of life,
Mm-hmm.
Western society in general. I mean, it's everything that we've based our society on over the last 200 years at least.
Mm-hmm.
It's under attack. I mean, they're wanting to take away. I mean, everything is built on freedom. The
Mm-hmm.
Western way of living is built on freedom, and that they're chiseling away at it. And now they're not even chiseling; they're just taking huge chunks out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just this overwhelming attack from everything on everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's done is caused to divide. It's caused to, I mean, it's both sides really. That, I mean, the right doesn't help the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're either too scared to speak up, or they end up getting too scared to say, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you.
There's also a lack of alliance on the right side too. Like the
Yeah.
left all kind of like comes together as one strong unit,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got like a couple of like independent people on the right that are really trying to go strong and fight for everybody, but then they're getting wiped out by the left because they're all saying the same thing and doing the same thing all the time.
Jordan Peterson made a really good point the other day. I was watching, and he said that the left has a better story than the right does. Like, it's more romantic. It's easier to sell. It's like a call to adventure, where the right, you know, by the very nature as conservatives, that's harder to sell. And that's part of what I'm hoping to achieve with this whole thing that I'm doing, is giving us a story to rally behind, you know, and just a call to adventure, like he was saying.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like probably mostly that when it comes to the right, nobody cares about being honorable anymore. You know, like that part has completely become old fashioned and outdated. And now it's all about the evil side of things. It's about backstabbers and what is the word I'm thinking of? Misleading people. You know, it's the trickery and stuff that really gets everybody, I think, more involved on the left. You know, they don't care that they're being lied to because the lie is more interesting than the truth. You know, like right now they're about to they're pushing like the whole alien agenda thing. I don't know if a lot of people like listen to it, but they've been talking about this for years, that they're going to stage that kind of shit. But, you know, because it's so interesting to think, you know, we're going to get attacked by aliens, everybody's going to jump on board with it. You know, it's more because, you know, that's what the movies do. The movies paint it to be a really exciting adventure, and who knows, like if there isn't, then it's boring if there wasn't, you know. So, you know, like if there are aliens, then that's exciting. If they're not, you know, it's boring. Nobody wants to hear that. So I think that's like it's a lot with the left and the right. You know, left is very, very exciting and sinful and dirty grunge,
and sexy.
And sexy. Which
another thing that makes them so appealing to people too is the whole political correctness. All of it, everything boils down to them whittling away at guilt, where they want no one to feel guilt for anything, and anybody that causes them to feel guilt in any way, shape, or form is a racist, or you know what I mean. It's they're under attack. And I started mentioning this earlier when we were talking about I said both sides. Like I think that no one, it's clear to everybody that the left is not going to ease up. They're going to go all in on this, and they're also not going to go without a fight. But there's no one on the right that's showing that we're working on a plan. There's a few of them that are saying that there is a plan, you know, but they don't let the people in on it. Like I this is another part of what I want to do. I want to get roundtable discussions with, you know, minds that can have actual conversations from both sides of things, and then we address the issues that are at hand, how we can fix that, what needs to be done, and get the opinion from the people that are watching it. You know, like these are the topics we discussed. These are the options that we have. What do you guys think? Vote on this, and bring it more back to the people. I also feel like things need to be done on a more local scale, like more direct governing.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't see how we can get through this with all of the systems being in place that there are right now. I don't know how this part would be done, but it would be great if we could do it. Have a group of people that just revise all of the laws to where there's no loopholes. It's pretty black and white. And if you have something that is in the gray area, you either submit beforehand or you have it go under review after. I think that a lot of things are overcomplicated. It's worded to where most regular people can't understand it. And it's just designed to allow them to do whatever they want.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you
And-
make it too complicated, your everyday citizen's not gonna try to look
Yeah.
into it or try to understand it.
And the more that it goes into it too, the more people are thinking that they're helpless or they can't do anything. And that's just not true. I mean, alone, not a lot of people can. I mean, one person can't do anything to stop this. But everybody together standing, that'll at least give them a pause.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. One person can't necessarily change everything, but that one person can start a movement to help everything change. And it
Mhm.
sounds like that's what you're trying to do. you know?
Yes.
Do you think, like, if you were to say there was like a, the Messiah type person that bridges these gaps together, do you think they're going to come from the right or the left? Like a
I don't
personal
think they're
opinion.
coming from either.
Yeah.
I think that they're gonna be somebody that sees reason,
Hmm.
can talk to both sides. Because I don't think that I think there's far fewer extreme left people than they let on.
Hmm.
I don't believe there's as much hate. It's just the people that have that in them are more vocal and more emboldened by everything else going on.
I think for the left, I think the size of the problem looks larger in the left because the left is very maybe I would say like ego driven. Like they just can't admit like when they're wrong or anything like that. And
Yeah.
that's what worries me more. That's why I'm more worried about the left
Yeah,
than the
and
right.
there's that. Yeah, that's the same here. It's they pose the greatest threat right now,
Mhm.
for sure. And it's I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
That's right. Well, I think that the left you're talking about, they feel more gutsy about speaking out and being loud and everything.
Mhm.
And that's great if you're trying to get a certain message across. But I think one of the things that makes them so dangerous too is they're not suffering consequences from any of their actions.
Mm,
I
yeah.
mean, just look
Yeah.
at the rioting, for instance. People are essentially getting away with murder,
Mhm.
And I think they're doing
and
that
they're being
on purpose, too.
forgiven. Like, I mean, there's prosecutors, like there's state prosecutors in Oregon that have blatantly said, I'm not going to press charges or whatever against anybody who's involved in rioting. Like, I'm just going to dismiss it, like it's not going to be.
Do you know, like, I know like a lot of the rioters in Portland, for example, like have been, all those cases have been kind of thrown out.
Mhm.
Do you know any of them like were like persecuted? Because as far as I know, I don't think any of them. I think all
I
of them have
don't
been
know of
tried.
any of them. There was the guy that hunted down the Republican and murdered him,
Hmm.
and then he got taken out by the police.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
And he was from Washington State, I think, and he went home and they went to go find him, and there was a shootout and he was killed there. Sorry,
Either
that's
they're
a cat, not a child.
If your cat wants to join in, it's cool.
Let the cat speak.
Yeah.
She's the one that needs to be censored.
I think that when it comes to that, I think that it's definitely the left. Back to the question about someone who's going to
Bridge the gap.
bridge the gap. I think that it wouldn't be someone from the left at all. I mean,
No,
after
no.
2016, like the left has just gotten way more radicalized, and at this point, anyone who was in the middle back then is
Yeah.
most likely to the right now. Like, I mean, even
Even if you're in the middle, you're considered
libertarians.
far right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, like libertarians, they were like basically the middle person, and now a lot of them have drifted all the way to the right. It's like I really don't see any viewpoints from the left anymore that are relevant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean, for me, like I'm pretty left-leaning guy. Like I don't know if you guys know who Christopher Hitchens is, for example, but he was one of I've been following this stuff for good 15 years or so. And Christopher Hitchens was like the last like awesome like punk rock liberal that I used to follow. And it seemed like once he died, that's when like the left started going into like Looneyville. And yeah, like just saying that you think socialism is a bad idea, you're casted off into the island of conservative, and
Yeah.
You don't even have to say it's a bad idea. You can just question it a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
just frown when you hear it. Like,
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
Make the yuck
All you gotta
face.
do is like, I don't know about that. And then you're racist.
Mhm.
Yeah, because now there is no Donald Trump, you
Mhm.
know, so now it's literal just opinions going out there, and without the look of Donald Trump, without anybody saying MAGA, without any of that, real viewpoints are coming in without that veil of anger. So
Mhm.
now, because they've already been programmed to agree with whatever the left is pushing out there, now anyone who agrees with anything related to the right is automatically going to be a white supremacist sympathizer, or whatever else that they want to tell us that we are now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, did you guys have a like a realization that like the left was going nutty like even before Trump, or was it like Trump was like the beacon that like revealed it all?
I think he helped people realize what was
Mhm.
happening more than
Yeah.
anything. Like, there's always been kind of the hint that, okay, this is messed up, like that's not right. They're definitely trying to like push something over here, like this feels like a little agenda driven here and there,
Mhm.
but then it wasn't until he really spoke up about it and pointed it out and refused to be told otherwise. It's like,
Mhm.
no, like you are fake news, like but like just him saying that helped you think about it. Like, even if you disagreed with it when he said it, that
Mhm.
CNN's fake news or whatever, or whoever it was that he was talking to,
Yeah.
like, even if at that point you felt like that they were real, like he did exactly what the left does, and he said fake news enough times to start putting that thought in your head.
Mhm.
Where mainstream media does the exact same thing with throwing somebody under the bus. Like, they say something negative enough that
Mhm.
you start to believe it, or you start to question it or something. Like, Trump is not a white supremacist, but they've said it so many times.
Yeah.
So you have a large number of people thinking he is. So
Have you
he
ever-
kind of like played their own game against them,
Yeah.
and he wasn't afraid to bite back.
Have you ever like officially like set out a definition of what a white supremacist is? Because it seems like they
I
can
have
call
white
anything
skin. That's it.
Yeah, I like it's strange to me that like the rhetoric from the left has gone so extreme.
Yeah.
It seems like overnight, and like calling
They
someone
definitely went full tilt after Trump. That's
yeah,
Oh yeah.
like
That
calling
is-
someone
Accelerated.
like calling someone a Nazi. It used to be like a kind of joke that you were like so extreme and blah
Yeah,
blah,
like
but
the
now
soup Nazi.
yeah, exactly.
It could be kind of a, you could kind of laugh at it, but now it's definitely like, we need to set your house on fire. And
Yeah.
yeah, it is. If you study history at all, I mean, the stuff that's happening right now should horrify you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
absolutely.
I mean, it's just
100%.
a more modern version of everything that's ever happened bad in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I mean, why else would they be trying to rewrite history and remove
Yeah.
information,
hmm
because if you don't learn from history, you're going to repeat it. And that's where we're at right now. Only problem is a lot of us see what's happening because we understand history.
I mean, that's one thing wanted to start the show because I just had this realization like there's never going to be a show like this on mainstream media. I can't until the day I die probably, and uh, I think due to that, there's going to be a lot more like independent people like just being forced to have these conversations and broadcasting them,
Mhm.
which I kind of think is a good thing. I guess it sort of leads to just how do you think like the mainstream media in total like will survive out of this? I mean, can it survive without us?
Man,
I think it's going down.
Mm.
I think that
Yeah.
mainstream media, especially like Facebook and Twitter,
Mhm.
I think that they're holding on by a thread.
Mhm.
The more that they censor more people, the more people are leaving their platforms. I mean, I'm not on Facebook anymore. I like 100% left Facebook last year,
Mhm.
and I had restarted my Twitter, and then I dropped out of that too. Like it's just not the same.
Mhm.
I tried doing not Rumble, what is it?
Parlor?
Yeah, Parlor. Which I mean I kind of still want to go back to Parlor just
they
to
just opened
try
that
to
up
do it.
in
Yeah, they
the
just reopened it.
Mhm.
yeah.
But yeah, like I mean so many new platforms are coming out that are more free to speak your mind like social media used to be, that people are leaving it. I mean, that's why people like TikTok.
Mhm.
Like technically TikTok is probably has some censoring stuff that they're probably going to go into, but right now I feel like TikTok has taken on the role of YouTube
Mhm.
before YouTube got so censored.
I've seen a
At least they're
couple
not
people
censoring as
posting.
much as removing things.
Yeah.
I've seen a few people that I follow just like, well, I just got banned permanently from TikTok.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Luke.
I don't know. I think the media is going to depend, and I think that whole outcome of all of this is going to depend on who is willing to push the hardest and the farthest. And that doesn't necessarily mean violence, but I
Mhm.
just, at this point, I don't see, unless drastic action is taken to fix the corruption,
Mhm.
then I don't see how it doesn't end in conflict. Also, with this great of a divide, I don't see how another country isn't going to. I mean, they clearly already are taking advantage of it, but they're going to try and wipe us out. I mean, united we stand for it's for a reason. Is why they, you
Yeah.
know,
We also have really weak leadership right now,
You
and
don't say.
everybody knows it. Everybody knows.
I didn't even know we had leadership.
Right? Yeah, I'm sorry. There's somebody in there like puppeting.
But Kamala Harris's smile is just so magnetic. I mean, come on, guys.
Oh my gosh. It really feels like they don't care how
Yeah.
obvious they are about everything. Like
Mhm.
They don't.
I think that they do like the going out to eat without their masks on, all this
Mhm.
stuff that they've done that's hypocritical. I think they do it on purpose. I think they get off on it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's because there's nobody that stupid that's just gonna tell you got to wear a mask when you go out in public, except for me.
They know they're untouchable because they're the ones running the show.
Yeah. They were paying for their salary, so they
Yep.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's
Speaking of, I during filing taxes,
Mhm.
it's just something I noted when I was going through it. Like I use very easy online service. It asks me lots of questions along the way to make filing so much easier. But
Mhm.
like one of them was just like, have you done anything with cryptocurrency? I was like, huh, on my tax forms, huh? It's like, that's not what this is supposed to be about. I just thought that was interesting. Just, another way for them to take money. So
Yeah, cryptocurrency has been like popping up a lot everywhere.
Yeah.
I've noticed. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. Like I
Have
don't
you-
really know much about cryptocurrency for me to really fully understand like if it's a good thing or a bad thing,
China is enacting it as like where it's going to have the same value as their regular currency, and it's going to be replacing it. And so, I
like
mean,
credit.
yeah, they got their
Mhm.
social credit scores. They've got, it. I don't know, man.
That
So I
scares
think
me.
the thing you got to anything that comes out now, you've got to look at like, all right, what harm could this do before you even attempt
Yeah.
letting the convenience get into you? Because I mean, that's
Right.
what a lot of it is. They sell it to people because it's convenient,
Mhm.
and that's on anything. But with the technology that we have now, we've got to be very careful, because even if someone is doing it with the best of intentions, if it has the possibility
Mhm.
to, it's just got to be looked at.
I
very
mean,
carefully.
to your point about considering what damage something can do before you actually work on it or move forward with it or get into it, you know. Have you all seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix?
Heard of it, but
No.
I haven't seen it.
It's interesting. It's actually like some things are said it and you're like, oh my God, you're right. You know, I didn't really like, I knew this,
Mhm.
like you kind of know how it works, but then some things are said and you're like, oh my God. But they had some of the original developers for some of the social media platforms.
Mhm.
And I believe one of them worked on Facebook. Anyway, there was a lot of, they had to be like really careful about what they were saying. They had to kind of like skate around like any sort of like liberal harming statements.
Right.
But it was interesting because even the developers were like, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, like I had no idea what it would become. And they were regretting ever being a part of the project, basically. But it's an interesting watch. Like you can kind of like, it's easy to, I mean, a lot of things are like really kind of, there's some woke stuff in there, here and there, you know.
Yeah.
Is
But
that
it's easy enough to like be like, all right, I understand, you know, let's move on.
Yeah.
Is that the documentary where like they're talking about how the CIA is like a part of the social media like
I don't remember that part
connection?
of it.
Like I saw a documentary. I don't know if it was on Netflix. I don't even remember. I think I saw it on YouTube. I'm not sure, but it was basically talking about how like this one woman was talking about how she was hired to basically just like take people's data and use it against us. Like everybody's data on Facebook and everything is basically like they're just gathering it all up. And the program that she was using is basically what Facebook uses, but this is way before Facebook ever existed. And it's like it was like the building block of what Facebook is now, or like
Right.
whatever programs they use to censor everything or go through everybody's information.
Are you talking about LifeLog by any chance?
I might be. I don't remember what
I think it was
called.
created by DARPA. I think about the same time that a little bit before Facebook. Well, what happened was that DARPA created something was called LifeLog that was supposed to be similar to Facebook, but they actually admitted that they were going to collect, like we were saying, collect people's information and data and all that stuff. But then that was canned. But only like a month later, I'm trying to remember the year. That's when Facebook came out. So I think maybe that's what you're talking about. So
I
They
think
owned up to
so,
their
yeah.
intentions and got canned, and then the other company didn't own up to their intentions and is still around today.
I
Interesting.
think it was more of a transition because they got caught the first time, so then they need to move the title
Right.
of whatever they're doing to a completely new name. It's almost like, you know, getting canceled on a social media site. So what do? You just create a completely new persona, you know, and
that's
just,
true. Yeah.
you know, I think that's basically all they did, you know, and then they just put it in the form of Facebook. But
Who was
there was
it
like talking about how Mark Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Yep.
Wait,
Mhm.
what's his name? Yeah, Facebook
Yeah.
owner.
Yeah, you're right.
How he's really like a CIA agent or something like that, or FBI agent or something.
I
It's
think
interesting. I'd have to watch that. I've never thought about that about him, but
I think a lot of that too, like whether some of these people are CIA working for the government or whatever. I mean, it doesn't change the fact that they're doing horrible things. And
right.
you mentioned something about, you know, creating another account. I can't remember what social media outlet is doing this, but they're setting it up like rules where you can't create a different account. Like if you can't
It used to
create
be like that
fan
with
accounts.
Facebook originally. You used to have to have an actual like EDU email. You
Yeah.
had to be going to school. Because that's how long ago I signed up for Facebook. Back in its infancy.
Which
But
really
yeah, like
wasn't that long ago.
And I remember like you couldn't, for your profile picture, it had to be a photo of you. Like you weren't allowed to like put a caricature up or or anything that was not you. Not that they could necessarily prove that, but I mean, that's how like strict the rules were on Facebook. And then as suddenly everything opened up and they let everyone in.
Oh, I had no idea about this. Like I was after MySpace, I was kind of done with social media being,
Yeah,
and Facebook came around, and it just seemed kind of boring,
it
and I
was,
just
yeah.
never fucked with it. And
Yeah.
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 MySpace was fun, man. I used to find all kinds of bands on there. I mean, I would just sit and search for bands that were posting stuff.
Oh
And
yeah,
most
that
of what I
was.
listened to came from them.
Yeah, like it was mainly like artists were like huge on MySpace, you know. Shoot, like I remember like that was like the first start of my comic book. I had like a whole entire like page on MySpace. And it was cool because, you know, they taught it, you're able to use coding and stuff and like customize your whole entire page. And that was so cool.
Yeah,
Man.
everybody had a different color and theme, and you'd like, I like this music.
Yeah.
And
Your
so
top
you're gonna
5.
Yeah, MySpace was also like the birthing of like where like the OnlyFans sort of started. Like I remember following like a lot of like hoochie kind of girls. Like, yeah, they got
Oh,
a
yeah.
future in this somehow.
Yeah. And you know who was a great guy? Tom.
Yeah,
Tom
he was a
never
good
did
guy.
anything bad.
Right.
He always had that same smiling
He just
picture
wanted to
at
be
his
your
desk.
friend.
He was
we should-
always there to help. No, R.I.P. MySpace. Even though I think you're still around.
I guess going along with the whole mainstream just falling apart, I guess you guys want to talk about like the Golden Globes at all, because
Oh yeah, good
that
old
was-
Golden
that was
Globes.
something. I don't know if you guys.
I didn't even watch it. Like, was it on? I know that they.
No,
I
they
mean,
canceled it.
They canceled it completely. I didn't see. I saw the stuff like cancel Golden Globes. I was like, are they canceling it, or are they, you know, canceling it?
Yeah.
You know,
think
like their cancel culture type thing. You know, it's.
I think it has more to do with what was it, like a week or two before there was the Oscars, and the ratings for that were just
Yeah, it's
abysmal.
got to be ratings related.
And
I just don't give a crap about them as much anymore.
Well, it was that, and then if I'm not mistaken, there's like something like going on with the people who like run the Golden Globes. So like they had like this whole thing, like an argument over like having more people of color be like on their board. And
aren't they all white currently?
I think that for the Golden Globes, I think that they said something about them being all foreigners.
Yeah, it's like a
Something like
a
that.
foreign Hollywood kind of
Yeah. So like
meeting.
they're not white technically. They're like just foreigners. So I mean, like it kind of like goes out of the ballpark of America. But like they were mad because last year they had what's his name?
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah,
on.
that was good.
And that like I mean he angered a lot of celebrities. Like I'm not mad at it. It was awesome.
I was surprised too because I remember like a few days after that happened, I was at work and someone was listening to NPR, and they had like, you know, the This Week in Cool guy talking, and he was like butthurt about like Ricky Gervais. He's like, oh well, I think he went too far. Like there's jokes, but like I mean, come on, you know. And
I mean, they definitely weren't smiling and laughing.
I mean, what did they think was going to happen when they got Ricky Gervais to come out there? And the same thing with Bill Burr. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? If you just did that so you would get a reaction.
Yeah.
Well, they got the best reaction.
Oh,
I
think it was the reaction they wanted too, though. I think they want things that they can point out and vilify. It's just they look for it. It's the only. Sorry.
All the pedo jokes were just on point. It was amazing, and all the reactions to them.
Yes, they did not think that was funny. It's like it's the year of the pedos.
Yeah,
the looks like with Tom Hanks, the look on his face and everything.
Well, they didn't want a second dose of that going on. I think that was like the main reason why they really like shut it down they're afraid of another Ricky Gervais.
I mean,
I think
they
that
could
they
easily
realize,
remedy
too,
that by
no one
controlling who they
cares,
put
though.
on.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
with Luke. I think
Yeah.
no
Yeah,
one
nobody
cares,
cares.
and they know it. So they just
Well,
Like,
needed.
who wants to watch a bunch of people get their backs patted? Like, nobody
Right.
cares. Like,
I mean, there's so many people now too, like just thinking about the ratings, even if it has nothing to do with the content of the show.
Mhm,
A lot of people are streaming content all of the time
mhm.
and are not just watching regular television. So to me, like that's a disconnect already for me. I
Mhm.
didn't even know any of that was supposed to be going on. Like after the Oscars happened, I was like, what?
Yeah, I just
had no
found out about
idea.
I found out about the Oscars just finding out that they bombed so much. Like I had
Yeah.
no idea
Yeah, I
who was
had no
even
idea what.
nominated.
Right.
yeah, I didn't hear anything from the Oscars, to tell you the truth.
I mean, I
after
remember back in
last
like
year.
the 90s, back in the 90s, I think was the last time I really cared about any of those shows.
Yeah.
I never really watched the Golden Globes or the Oscars. I always watched the MTV Movie Awards and
Yeah,
the
me too.
VMAs and stuff,
Yeah.
you know,
I'd
because
never
that was
really
more
watched any of them.
interesting. Because they're funny, but like, you know, they had all the really cool like skits in between. That was like the only cool thing about them, I
Mhm.
thought. But then like even after a while, I think like once it hit like maybe like 2012, 2013, is
Mhm.
when I like stopped really paying attention to them. They weren't as entertaining because it was just the same thing. And then they were getting like really boring hosts,
Yeah.
you know. It was no longer entertaining. And at the same time, again, like they're just patting celebrities on the back for the work that normal people are giving them. Like,
Mhm.
like we should be the ones getting the awards. Like we're the
Yeah.
ones that are like giving them all our money and stuff. Like we're paying their salaries, but you know, like it's a battle of the riches. Like nobody cares about that. Get off your high horse, Hollywood.
Yeah, I stopped watching award shows like a long time ago. And I had this thought of like how much of it is like getting older and I don't want to follow it anymore, or how much of it is that just the quality of like the music and the movies is just going to shit. And
Yeah, I think that's that was probably the first thing I noticed with like the quality of art has just been going down, like
Mhm.
stuff that everybody sees, and real art is now suddenly going through the roof because that's just anytime people start getting oppressed or something, that's when real art emerges.
Mhm.
But like take SNL. I mean, yeah, political jokes are funny for both sides,
If
but
they're
when it
jokes.
becomes just blatant propaganda,
Yeah.
you can't make propaganda funny and it work unless there's truth behind it. And there's not
Yeah.
truth behind anything that they do.
Yeah, one of these we occasionally watch like stand-up comedian shows and stuff that are
Mhm.
for streaming or whatever, and we had come across I don't remember what the name of the comedian was now, but he's very dry sense of humor. So like it takes a couple of minutes for you to understand kind of his what he's got, but it's hilarious once it gets going.
Mhm.
And there's several episodes of it or several specials on it over the years, and I think like the first one was from 2012 or something like that.
Mhm.
And then there were maybe 4 or 5 of them, and the last one we watched, I think the latest one was like 2018. So I was like, let's be sure we watch these in order so we can see if he's actually funny, and then
You notice
we'll
like
kind of,
like a drop
proceed
of
with caution. Yeah. So like definitely he kind of went down that road with the Trump bashing and everything.
mm,
But to his credit, he did try to actually make it funny.
mhm.
He did approach it in a different way. It wasn't just sheer hatred for it. He just
Yeah.
kind of like made analogies with different characters and stuff. So it was still super annoying to listen to because it drug on for so long. But I did at least like that he still tried to keep the comedy aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to love Jim Jeffries, and I was following him for way back in the day. But like there came a point when his
Yeah.
specials started getting just preachy. like he used to talk about like the Second Amendment, and it was fine. But then after like you can notice like the shift in like the audience was not laughing; they were more like clapping and going, "Woo, yeah, you tell it, boy." And that was kind of like the end of me like following Jim Jeffries because it just wasn't fun
Yeah.
anymore. And
Dave Chappelle. I used to love Dave Chappelle,
Yes.
and
Breaks my
sorry,
heart.
but man, he was hilarious. And then 2020 happened, and he just flatlined.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was such a disappointment because he has so many funny skits. His
And-
content is genius.
Yeah.
Like
and
like
the special,
the blind black
yeah.
KKK member, like that is gold. But you can't do that now. Like, you know, I'm thinking in my mind, just because of kind of how he went here recently. It's just like, so is he regretting doing this now? Like,
Yeah, and you know,
it's so funny to watch it.
it's crazy because like he was one of those comedians who was like on the side of, well, I don't care what these people try to push in my way, I'm gonna do it my way. And then it was like, what happened to that mindset? Because like
And
you just completely
somebody
erased it.
Yeah, like, and he's somebody that's been censored and been removed, and I'm so sorry my cat keeps screaming.
Does
But,
your
you know,
cat need a
he's-
mic too? Or-
Yeah, nope, she has
She
plenty of vocals.
agrees. She agrees.
But yeah, like it was disappointing to see what happened with him, because he really was
Yeah.
he was a good go-to, I guess,
Well, is it the same?
for the non-PC humor.
Well, is he the same Dave Chappelle though that we all remember from like Half Baked and like the old
Yeah.
Dave show? I mean, Dave Chappelle
This-
show.
Yeah.
Because he changed a lot. Like when he went to Africa, he was the legit man. But when he went to Africa and he came back, he looked different too physically. And I know,
Yeah.
like he says that he started working out, and I don't know. There's something off. I don't know. It just, to me, it almost doesn't seem like him anymore. I mean,
Well, with him, I remember before this last special of his, the one right before it, he talked about like I think he made some trans jokes, and it was a
Yeah.
funny fucking
Yeah.
special. And
Yeah,
I
the
remember
one on
like,
Netflix.
yeah, and
Yeah, the Netflix special like series. He had like, it's like
Yeah, it was
three.
like three of them.
mhm,
Yeah, all of them were hilarious.
mhm.
And then literally after the George Floyd thing, like it was like classic Dave Chappelle coming back. And
Mhm.
then after the whole George Floyd thing, he just like flatlined. Like after that, it was just like I saw his like stand up, and like literally the whole entire thing was just about George Floyd,
Mhm.
and nothing was funny. It was like,
Yeah.
why are you talking? Like you could have like literally done this on Twitter or something and posted a rant about it like everybody wanted you to in Hollywood. You could have done that, but instead you decided to do a special on your opinion about something. Like
Yeah.
like it's not funny. Like
Yeah, it's turning into like what's called slam poetry or whatever. Have you fucking heard that shit? It's the worst fucking thing ever.
I remember
Yeah.
Def Comedy Jam,
What-
Def Poetry Jam.
Yeah, it's like
What-
that, but worse. Yeah.
One
Yeah,
thing-
totally worse.
Go,
One
Luke.
thing that I don't understand, talking about Chappelle and all these other ones, like I know that there's a ton of conservatives in Hollywood and all that, but they don't speak up. You would think right now they would realize this is the time to speak up because it will only help their career. If
Mhm.
the left tries to cancel you, that immediately endears you in the hearts of every conservative in
Yeah.
the country.
Like an activation. Like
Yeah.
suddenly
problem-
everybody's like, no.
Well, the problem with that is that the main people that are producing movies and television shows, they're left wing,
But you've got-
and they're like because they're so left wing, they will try to hire more people that are agreeable because they want to appeal to the masses, but what they think is the masses are liberal mindset.
Yeah.
And because I I know people that are in the industry, like that are actors and stuff, and if they speak out and say something, like they won't even get it will like instantly be a mark on their record, you know, and their agents won't send them, you know, to certain producers anymore. You know, they literally get blacklisted immediately. And I mean, like, honestly, like if that happened to a lot of other people, they wouldn't say anything either, because that's dipping into their income, you know.
Yeah,
That's
it's career
part
ending
of
when you start to speak out.
it's part of why I'm wanting to get Candace Owens and everybody at the Daily Wire involved in what I'm doing, because I mean they're branching out into as many fields as possible. Like they're doing the movie with Giana Carano, and they've got a bunch of other stuff. I think that they're gonna play a big role in media going forward if things like typical outlets like CNN and all those fall to the side, which hopefully they will, because I mean, without Trump, the ratings suck.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah, I do think that like let's say if just a comedian just put out a fuck the woke special and just did it independently, I think the guy whoever, they would clean up. I think they would get so much people on board. I would watch it. And I'm not sure if it's is it a fear you think that they're doing it, or
I don't know, man.
I think, I mean,
But where would you see it?
I feel
I
like ultimately fear
Anywhere.
is behind it all.
Mhm.
Well,
Fear
because,
is such
like-
a controlling force.
Well,
I
yeah,
think too. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
well, I was gonna say, like other than, like, think of Facebook, they're taking everything down, so you can't get a deal with if you make a movie, right? If someone produces a movie that's totally against it all, you know, they can't get a deal to watch it. They won't be able to have it in theaters, because the main people that own the box office are left wing. They won't be able to put it on, get a streaming deal, because half the streaming deals are all left wing as well. You know, so who's going to be able to see it? I mean, like they did the documentary Uncle Tom, you know, that was great. I mean, they were able to sell it to people and get it out there, but that would be like the only way that they would be able to do it. And then again, those people that are seeing it are the people that already agree.
I think too.
It's a
also,
really well done documentary, by the way.
It is.
And
Yeah.
I
it
have
is
it.
streaming on Amazon.
Yeah, go Luke.
Amazon Prime.
In Hollywood and the music industry and all that, I think a lot of it too, that it draws people that probably don't really know anything about politics, but they know that the people that will get them a job,
Yep.
so they want
Mhm.
attention, so they'll
Mhm.
say anything they have to, or
Mhm.
anything
Oh,
that
yeah.
they think is going to get them more work. And you know, as far as that goes, I mean, you shouldn't, you know, compromise who you are for that, but I do understand trying to, you know,
Guilt to the bosses.
yeah, but I mean, at some point you gotta draw a line. I mean, I don't care how much fame I would get, I would never, I wouldn't be able to live with myself with some of the stuff that they just even promote, you know, like even if they're not
Right,
doing
like,
anything themselves.
That's what I think about with some of these news reporters. You can't see, but it's in air quotes. But that's what I think when they're broadcasting this information that they're wanting you to believe, omitting really important facts, you know, blowing things out of context, because they're trying to make you think a certain way. Like, how do these people sleep at night knowing what they're doing? Because they have to know. Like, maybe somebody who's just like fresh into the business and doesn't realize anything. Like, I feel like at this point you'd have to be like really naive to not understand any of it.
Yeah.
But like, let's rewind like 5 years, right? where a lot of people, some of this information wasn't out there, you know. And then they get in and they're just like, that's not true, you know, like, why would you want me to say something like that if that's not what he said? Like, I can't imagine. And I'm sure that they sleep just fine, because they're obviously okay with saying the same things over and over again, you know, for years, and making millions of dollars in these high positions and stuff. But it's like, what kind of a human being are you to want to control the population like that? Like, are you just power hungry?
Speaking of journalists, did you guys hear about I think the the news outlet, I think it's Intercept. They did like a smear piece on some of the guys that gotten footage of like Portland, and they got some of the footage of the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. They did like a smear piece on them recently. Did you guys hear about that?
No, I
haven't.
didn't.
Yeah. I guess I can hold it for
Enlighten.
another. Huh?
I said enlighten.
Yeah, there's a couple of like independent journalists, like guys that like go in the scene, like in fucking, hard hat and riot gear,
Mhm.
interviewing people. Like a lot of the Portland footage was taken from them. The Kyle Rittenhouse, the video that's taken, that was from one of them. And Intercept,
Okay.
they did a piece saying that they were like misleading people through like trying to smear the BLM movement or something like that. And it was odd. It came off like, like a jealous girlfriend talking to like, bitching about like, their ex-boyfriend's like new hot girlfriend or something like that. There was like this ounce of jealousy that came off. And then, I mean, I wish you guys knew about it. But because it kind of
You told it well.
Maybe another episode, I guess.
I think that yeah, those Hollywood like more. I think that there are a lot of celebrities that are like trying to branch out on their own, like their own production companies and stuff like that. I mean, it's going to be slow moving though. The thing is though, I mean, again, Hollywood's mostly run by elites that are left wing, and I was just watching a video from Mark Dice. I don't know if you guys know who Mark Dice is. He's like pretty big on YouTube. Yeah. He was talking about propaganda in the media, and basically like every movie production company is a part of, like, they have to push out propaganda, whether that be war propaganda or trying to just sell us into believing something kind of propaganda stuff, like celebrities, they're paid to act in these movies so that they can push out propaganda. So if they're not doing that, no one's going to hire them, like main companies are doing that. But like there are like, I've noticed that a lot of actors are like slowly trying to like branch out on their own, like like Chris Pratt, like what's his name, Ryan Reynolds. They're producing their own movies and stuff like that now.
Fortunately for them, they've already got a good strong following and name in the industry.
Yeah,
But,
it is
I mean,
easier for the ones that are established to be able to, keep their career.
But I mean, at the same time, if you notice, a lot of those actors, they rather just completely remove themselves from the topic, which honestly, for me, I want that more than I want any celebrity trying to push any agenda, that they should be, it's their job.
Like if half of them had just kept their mouth shut, I could actually enjoy watching them and think still.
It's like nobody wants to hear your opinion on things that you have absolutely nothing to know about. Like, you don't live in our world, so you shouldn't be talking about it. Like, I get that they want to say something, but at the same time they're want to say something, if that made sense, is based off of getting paid to say something, especially now. I mean, like, I feel like back in the day it used to be a celebrity will spit out some crap that they probably heard somewhere, and then their agent will say, hey, you're not supposed to do that, and then they'll go back and apologize for it. Where now it's like they're being paid to say those things out loud. They're being paid to say that they're with the Green New Deal bull crap. They're getting paid to push out the vaccine. They're being paid to push out wearing a mask. I mean, look at that Melissa Milano chick. Like, someone please put something in her mouth, like cover her mouth with a freaking permanent mask, because she needs to just stop talking. But like, it's like I'd rather just not hear any of them say anything, like at all, than them actually like having an opinion. I mean, like, I don't care if you have an opinion. Like, if it wasn't for everything that happened in 2020, I don't think that I would actually have said anything political to anyone. I would just keep doing the things that I'm doing, but I feel like now I have to say something because it's not being said.
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
people that like I don't ever follow celebrities. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they're doing. I mean, but
Mhm.
and especially because I don't want it to ruin the movies or music or whatever, knowing their views. But at this point, I think that anybody that has a voice that is conservative or whatever, it is now become their responsibility to speak up, because if they don't, things are in such a dire situation
Yeah.
that the regular people do need somebody that's got a position, that isn't afraid to risk it, and they need to do it without getting paid for it.
Mhm.
Like what you're saying, because I mean, the people that are speaking up, most of them have a book they're trying to sell or something.
Yep.
Mhm.
But that needs to go to the wayside. I mean, like, look, John Lennon wasn't getting paid to do all those protests and stuff that he did, and that's what kept him. I got him killed, but he's a legend now because
So
of that.
that's what happened.
I'm
And-
sorry.
I mean, if you don't mind dying for the cause, you get your name in history.
Well, now they don't kill you; they just take away your career.
Yeah, it's.
They destroy your life and
Yeah.
livelihood.
I mean,
and-
hey, there's worse things than death. So it's
But I think that
ruin your life.
if enough celebrities spoke out against it and actually stood up, then that would give the people more courage to stand up. And it's the thing is, they're just as scared as we are. They're from a totally different world, but the few that I've talked to, I mean, that have had, a lot of them are as scared as the average person, and they need somebody to give them the courage to step up too.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, it's a dangerous position to be in. Like, you become a target if you start to speak up, and you have to be okay with losing relationships
Mhm.
yeah.
if you're going to say something, because remaining silent can be just as damaging. But speaking up isn't for everyone. And not everyone. It would be great if everyone did speak up, but that's not going to be the reality.
I saw something the other day, which just reminded me that I think it was a lady that was in the Jewish camps, and she said that what happened in World War II came about and was only possible for two reasons: when it was hate and silence. Too
Mhm.
many people stayed silent. I'm reading a book right now, it's called Ordinary Men, and it's about the police that would round them up and execute them, and it's very interesting, and people need. I feel like that should be
Wasn't that a
required.
movie
Really
too?
good point.
I think they might have done a documentary or something on it.
Yeah, I think it was called Armageddon. I think. Go ahead.
No, it's just that what's happening now. If people don't really, and Jordan Peterson talks about this, like when he talks about incorporating your
Mhm.
shadow, knowing the darkest part of yourself, the best way to do that is to look at the Nazi soldiers that participated in all this stuff. And you like to say, I wouldn't do that. There's no way. But you don't know. If you really analyze it, what would it take for you to be there? Because almost anybody, given a certain set of circumstances, could find themselves
Yes.
in that particular spot.
Yeah.
And people blame Hitler but it was an entire country that
Mhm.
did that. I mean, because the people could have stood up against it and said no. I mean, the few tried, but they shut them down. And it's just, if more had been brave enough to stand up, I think that a lot of that could have been averted, and the same thing happening right now.
Yeah. Do you guys know who Patrice O'Neill is? He's some comedian guy. He died a few years ago. He was awesome. He had a little bit of conspiracy theory in him. He was awesome, but he was on Alex Jones a long time ago, and he was talking kind of similar to what you're talking about. And he brought up the subject of Hitler, and he was just like, I have more of a problem not with Hitler, but like the people that did the stuff that he wanted them to do. Like he had more of an issue with the people that said, "Okay, I'll just kill a Jew because someone told me to," more than
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. He
how
had
many-
control over a lot of people
Hmm.
that would do his bidding, and
I
then
mean-
those people controlled people under them. And
how much evil has happened has taken place just from people following orders. I mean,
Mhm.
people need to question
This is where
things.
we're at.
And
Yeah, well, that was actually also happening over here in the United States. We were catching up with Nazi Germany too, because we were also the government was enforcing forced sterilization for like a long time.
Mhm.
And if I remember, there's like over like 64,000 individuals were forced sterilized in the United States from 1930 to the 1960s. And you can actually Google this. And the next step, I don't remember who specifically, but they were actually also advocating to euthanize the handicap over here in the United States. And the thing that stopped them was that I guess Hitler beat us to it because he doing he did it before us. So a lot of bad things were happening, especially during the whole FDR administration. And it's all because the government uses some kind of crisis as an excuse to take away your individual rights. And not a lot of people know this. And this is something I read a while back. I can't remember exactly, but it was called the Blue Eagle deal, I think, with FDR in response to what's it called, the depression, the first depression. And what it was to get people to only purchase at certain companies that were following government regulations. So if they had like this Blue Eagle sticker or symbol on the front of their business, you were supposed to shop at that place because the government they were following the government guidance, like, oh, you have to set your prices at this much, you have to hire this many people. And their excuse was, okay, well, if you do what we tell you, we're gonna like get out of depression. So it's like a way to enforce fascism. So it's people don't realize what's really happening. It's like a tricky way of getting people to give away their rights for convenience. And as Thomas Sowell, like this is one thing I wanted to say earlier, but I didn't get a chance. But I think it relates to everything that we've been talking about, is that with there's no solution, there's only trade-offs. So especially like with free speech, it's like you have free speech as long as you let anybody, you might have to like listen to the people that you disagree with, but that's okay because then there's free speech. But as long as soon as you start saying, oh, there's such a thing as hate speech, then like, how do you know what hate speech is? Who's going to dictate what hate speech is? And that's when, well, maybe you're
it's
going to
a
be
slippery
safe.
slope.
Yeah, it's a slippery, exactly. It's a slippery slope. It's like, okay, you could be safe and have like the government like and like get rid of hate speech, but it's a slippery slope. You're giving away your rights. I mean, what's more important to you?
And hate speech, I mean, come on, sticks and stones, if you learn that in elementary school.
Yeah.
Unless it's actual violence against you, I mean, you can say whatever you want to me. It's yeah.
I guess real quickly, let's just go ahead and ask Luke. You have a website that you're working on. If you want to talk about it real quick.
Yeah, it's reunited-states.com, and it's still in the process of getting everything together. I'm going to start a blog. I'm also wanting to have a section for participating businesses and stuff like that, and setting up events. But it's basically just a call to action to everybody that, our government has failed us. They're both sides are clearly not going to fix the system, and the only way to stop it is if we band together. And I'd like to set up a day, like I'm not gonna call it this because it's too divisive, but like a Defiance Day or something, where we have an event that's like held in multiple places across the country, and that kind of like kicks it off, where we have bands, have speakers and stuff like that, get enough celebrities involved with it, and have I'd like to build a network of businesses that could sustain the country without the government, without, because I mean, we did it forever, and we can go back to that. It's just get enough people together to make a stand, get the right people together to where we can find a solution to this problem and actually fix it, and let the people see that someone is working to change this, because no one can see anything that, you got one, DeSantis going against them in Florida. I mean, they were able to shut him down with a pipeline hack. I mean, it's, as going in to say before, no one person can do it, but if we all band together at the same time, let them know too what we're doing, and it just be a psychological messing with them,
Have you contacted like any punk rock bands? Because I think like that'd be the perfect kind of vessel for that.
They all voted for Biden, though.
I know. Yeah.
I'm working with Will Champlin, and he's got some connections. Once we get things started, he's going to be bringing some more people on, some different musicians and stuff. And he's got a list of people. We just got to get it going. And I think that's a lot of the people I've talked to are just waiting for the first big thing that I can do to get attention. I've got several plans for that. A lot of it, I'm doing a series or a set of series, parts to it that I'm going to put each part in a different city before we show up to perform. So it's kind of like you see the artwork there, that there's going to be a show soon. And so once we do that and get some media, like some news coverage, I think that that'll be the thing that the rest of the people I've spoken with to fall on board on, get on board, and other people will start getting drawn to it as well.
Have you heard of the what's his name, the Marine rapper? Axiom has done some work with him. I think he'd kind of be right up your alley.
Yeah, it sounds like something that might be appealing to Marine rapper, maybe Topher and them too. And
actually,
I can't speak for them, obviously, but it sounds like kind of some of the stuff they're fighting against all the time. That
Will Champlin's actually talking to Topher's producer.
Cool.
Working on something, so that's pretty cool too. Yeah.
All right. I guess did you want to have any closing thoughts before you went, or?
I don't really know. First time doing a podcast.
That's okay, man. Maybe next time, I guess. All right, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and had a good time. Look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, I mean, you're invited anytime, man.
I appreciate it.
I mean, all right, have a good one, dude.
You too.
All right, bye. To shut off. Okay. All right. That was a fast one. So yeah, those Nazis, huh? You guys want to start closing the show, or you want to go a little longer? I'm fine either way.
Yeah, I'd like to
start ending.
Start wrapping it up. Let's wrap it up.
Wrap
it up, box.
I could rap, that would be perfect.
Yeah. I guess I don't know, what do you have for like any final thoughts? Because this was kind of an all over the place episode. I guess if any of you guys want to plug anything that you're working on or anything like that. Anybody?
Well, I'm rebuilding my website now, angelprotected.com. Trying to open up at least like some kind of t-shirt shop along with it again. Looking into it, but right now it's up, and my comic book is now up as a series on Amazon.com and Lulu.com. So if anybody's interested in giving good old Angel Protected a good a purchase, the book looks like this.
All right, cool. I'll link it up to the video.
Great. And that's what I gotta say.
I don't know if I can necessarily reveal anything that I'm working on, but I think just some food for thought, I guess, is, there's a lot of things that aren't going well, aren't going right and they're obvious, like little red flags here and there, and it's hard to figure out what to do about it as an individual person. And I think following people who you see are making differences and they're getting out there and trying to make changes, and just even if you're not quite sure what to do yourself specifically, supporting those people is so important, because they don't have these major money outlets that like the left has, like independent musicians and artists and just anybody who's trying to get the message out there and making a good impact. And everything helps. Like if you don't have money, sharing their content is really important. That helps get it out there. Like if you can help be a part of like something really important going viral, if all you have is $5, there's ways that you can donate $5 to somebody, like find somebody that you really like, support them. You don't have to agree with them 100%. It's healthy if you don't, but just knowing what they stand for and, just try to help them along. And you can be a part of the movement to improve things just by being a part of the support system.
Like that. Benevolent, you have anything?
Oh yeah, like I just enjoy just watching and listening to everybody speak, just because I've been on the last few shows and you guys haven't been on the shows. I want to like just give you guys time to like be able to talk and listen to you guys. And yeah, I learned a lot. So I think the same thing with what Luke was saying. It really inspired me, and I agree with a lot of things he was saying, that there needs to be a lot more people speaking out, and I think it's only going to encourage other people to speak up. And ultimately, we need to create the real perception of reality. We have to take it back, because right now the what we're seeing is not really reality, and we need to have like and that's a problem with a lot of these grassroots movements, is that they always get infiltrated, or they get they always get stigmatized, like out there in the media, like the Tea Party and all these real grassroots movements that are really trying to do something. They're trying to like be the voice of the people, of the American people. So I've reached out to like other artists, and I'm hoping that other artists just like Luke and others can join us. And I'd like to hear from their perspectives. And I know we're not the only ones that think this way. So if we can all just get together and speak up and create the real perception of reality, that's going to be the best thing that we can all do to help the culture war. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I guess I just have to end it there. I guess we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we'll have another artist on. Pretty excited about this guy, but I'm gonna hold off who he is. But he's a pretty awesome comic book illustrator. We'll see you guys next week, and thank you for watching. Bye.